everybody, to another edition of Insights into Addiction and Mental Health. And we are once again here from Neuro Psychiatric Addiction Clinic. I got it right the first time this time, guys, because I usually mess that up. Neuro Psychiatric Addiction Clinic. We're here live with a couple of the people that work here. We've been interviewing people, seen in the other shows. The big thing is that we can't answer all your questions for a half hour. And we may even spark some ideas in your heads about what you want to ask. Make sure you call here and ask. You can go to npaddictionclinic.com and get their contact information. The number's on the screen. Give them a call. There's a great staff here. They're willing to answer any questions you have. And remember, when it comes to addiction and mental health, the only question that's a bad question is the one you didn't ask. So make sure you ask. And they're here to help you figure all that stuff out. Right now, I want to introduce our guest. We've got Erica Malicio. How was that? Was that good?
Yes, perfect.
Malicio. Even if it was wrong, you would have said perfect, right?
Yes, absolutely.
The problem is with a name like Jones, nobody ever gets my name wrong. Ever. You guys, you got these tough names. Aurelio Ayuso.
Very good.
Ayuso. Hey, there we go. I'm just going to stop and just say names all day. That's all I'm going to do because I'm good at it now. Aurelio, you are the clinical director and you are a primary therapist.
Yes.
So you guys are like a team. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of places say that we're a team and we all work together and it's like a family atmosphere. But this is the truth here, isn't it?
Yes.
Very much so.
And how important is that atmosphere that you guys work together, that you get along? How important is that when it translates to the clients? Because it's got to have a correlation, right?
Of course it does. You have to understand, when you're putting a team together, the star of that team are your therapists, are your case managers. Those are your stars. And those are the ones that you want to ensure have a really strong relationship with each other. Because now they can question each other. They can come to one another and they can challenge each other. Because when clients see that within the staff, then now they're like, wait a minute, they're human beings. Look, they made a mistake. No one covered for them. Nobody called them out on it. So now that client realizes maybe this place is a little bit different. Maybe it's okay to call them out. Maybe when they call me out, they're doing it because they really care and they really see something, not because some book said so. So I think that's one of the ways that this may correlate into helping a client out when you have that family environment. And for me, as a clinical director, I'm just smart enough to stay the hell out of my clinician's way. That's all it is, and watching them do what they need to do. And they do a great job each and every day. I have no problem saying I was out for over a week outside my facility because of what's going on in the world today, right?
Right, yeah.
And Erica stepped into my position, wouldn't know I was gone. That tells you the confidence that I have in this team and how strong this team is they trust one another that much. We could have both been out, and the facility would have continued to function from a clinical perspective as well as a medical perspective, because they are able to draw upon one another, and no one tries to stand out more than the other person. They all lean on each other for help, whether it is professionally or personally. And when clients see that genuine regard, it's going to catch them. I don't care how cynical you are. When you see that genuine regard in someone, it's going to affect you. How many times have we walked in somewhere and we see a family together and we could just see that genuine love and we sort of want that, right? But when a client walks in here.
But you can also see the tension when things aren't right.
Yes.
And I've certainly seen families, my own at certain times, and in other facilities where there is infighting, where there is a division of staff. And that really translates. It makes clients very uneasy. Some clients even try to take advantage of that and staff split and do other things. But you guys communicate on a level where it's hard for them to do that, don't you?
Yes.
How often are you guys getting together and working on cases as a group or sharing information?
It's constant. We're constantly leaning on each other to relay information, to help clients, staff cases. I mean, this is like an ongoing process 24/7. Call us crazy, but even on our time off, this is what we do. We're so passionate about it that we're constantly, talking about clients, ways that we can improve, what modalities or, therapeutic techniques we might want to use with clients. So it really is like a family, like you said. Sometimes, yeah, we do struggle, but we're also very good at keeping each other in check. And, it's.
Well, I mean, nobody's perfect. It's nice to know that if I slip a little bit in this area, or if I'm struggling in this area, somebody's got my back and help pick up the slack. Like you said, sometimes you got to go out or something happens, and somebody will step right in. But you can't do that without really good communication. And again, clientele sees that. From a perspective of my family members who have been to treatment and going to certain places, and they didn't even like each other. How are they going to like me? So that's important.
It is.
It's important.
Well, I think that's one of the things too, not only communication, but the fact that we really do care about each other, as individuals, as, coworkers and stuff like that. So that really helps the dynamic.
So you're friends.
Well, if we have to admit it, I guess, yeah, you could say we are.
Yeah.
See, the problem is we're too close to Christmas, and if they admit they're friends, they have to buy gifts, so they don't want to admit that yet. After the New Year's, they'll be friends. I totally get it, because I don't buy gifts for anybody. Well, myself. I got myself a new guitar. I'm good. You guys are dealing with something, and I want to talk about this, at length, because I think this is really important. The show is about, insights into addiction and mental health. It's not or mental health, it's and mental health, because there's almost always co-occurring disorders going on in some way. If they were fine before the addiction will create some mental health problems. And if you had mental health before, it could create the addiction problem. Either way, they're intertwined. Everyone and their brother is out there saying, yeah, we can handle that. We can handle mental health. They're schizophrenic. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We got years of experience in doing it. You know what? Most places can't. So what makes this place equipped to deal with the mental health issues that often co-occur or actually even are more important than the addiction itself?
Well, one of the main things that I've found helpful is having constant communication, like, for example, with schizophrenics or people who have schizophrenia, to maintain constant contact with parents or siblings or somebody who's in their lives, to give us, extra collateral information or give us tidbits about, hey, this client is acting this way, what have you done in the past that helps, because we can't get through them, so having that collateral information, that rapport with family or close friends and stuff like that is definitely helpful in providing, the type of treatment that we do.
Excellent. A lot of places wouldn't do that. I mean, you guys have to sometimes go outside of what you have in front of you to research so you can figure out the best way to help your clients. Is that what you're talking about? Is like,
we do research, we do trainings and things like that, but sometimes, yes, you can have schizophrenia, but you're still going to have your own type of personality and your own little quirks. So it is helpful to reach out to parents and stuff like that, to be like, hey, this isn't something that we typically see within schizophrenics. Can you give us, a little bit of insight as to how they are at home, or, things like that. So
she's got a beat on this, but just because somebody's good at something doesn't mean the facility is prepared for it. How have you prepared, or how is this facility prepared to merge those two where you can deal with mental health and addiction? What kind of things did you have to put in place here?
Well, first of all, I was fortunate enough to have people like Erica walk into my office. As you can see, when you asked a question on what makes us, how do we catch this, and what makes us different from other facilities, you just saw. We didn't go in there and throw modalities or training or credentials. I told you exactly how she does it. That's the difference. That is the most important part, especially when you're dealing with schizophrenia and trying to connect with that client that everyone always is challenged because his world is different than everyone else's. It's that kind of compassion that she shows, that every one of my staff members shows. That makes the difference. And that's why we're different than every other facility. Because we not only do we understand how that mind works, but we also understand just because they have those quirks, just because they're different, doesn't mean that they're broken. And that's where we approach it when we deal with mental health. Because we understand when it comes to addiction, you don't wake up wanting to be an addict. 9 out of 10 times, there's an underlying issue. And unfortunately, most of the time, it's mental health. So if you're not an expert in mental health, you're not going to help the person suffering from addiction. Sure, you'll teach them how to stop, but I promise you, he'll go back. You need to understand mental health in order to be able to do that. And that's where, yeah, I can go in there and give you, tell you how we train on CBT and DBT and REBT to help them. And we have a team that has psychiatry, and we ensure that their medications are proper. Sure, I can tell you all of that.
You have your ACA license.
And ACA and everything else.
And,
sure.
Yes.
And I can give you all of those details that every other facility will give you. Or you can have a staff like mine that already understands, that are confident enough in all of that, that you've already done your research as a parent or as someone suffering from it. So you know what our credentials are. You want to know is what the difference is. And she just showed you what the difference is.
Now, somebody, let's say, a lot of times it's a parent who's looking, but it could be another loved one or somebody, or even the client themselves. However, if they do have some serious mental health issues, sometimes or somebody helping them. Just to identify that they have the information that you have. I mean, how would they do that? Will you have conversations with people to explain these are the things that we will do? I mean, can you give them that kind of transparency up front?
Up front. Normally, most parents, when they call us, they're desperate.
Yeah.
And we're all available. They can reach me directly. As clinical director, can reach our COO directly. That's the kind of transparency that we do have, because we want the parents to call us. We want family members to be able to call us, so that we're able to let them know, hey, yes, this is the right place for you. Yes, we can help. Or if we can't help, we have no problem saying so. If someone calls in, with severe issues that I know we could not help, I would put them in touch with someone that could. Right. Because that's what it's about. It's about truly, genuinely caring about that person, that other human being. And I think that's what sets us apart from other facilities. We're not going to say, oh yeah, we'll take you no matter what it is. We don't do that. We're going to screen the clients, and we believe that we generally can help. We will. And every client that comes in, I get the phone call, or my medical director gets a phone call. Hey, this is what's going on. These are the underlying conditions. Can we help? It's not, can we take them? No, it's, can we help them?
And a lot of the times when, these parents come in and they're desperate and they don't know what else to do, with, their son or daughter with schizophrenia, a lot of times, they've done some research, but they don't know what anything else about the diagnosis. So a lot of times, we do sit down with the parents or family sessions, or we have phone calls with them to just kind of explain, what you're seeing, what your experience is normal of that diagnosis, and it's okay. At the end of the day, we're human beings, and that's how we're going to approach this.
Well, I think it's important that you guys, it's important to you that you fill them in so that they can have some ease of mind, and certainly help themselves, because whether it's mental health or a substance abuse issues or anything else, it affects everybody. And so the sooner you can put their mind at rest that you are treating their loved one, and that the loved one is getting what they need, maybe they can get what they need as family members. So that's really important. One of the things that happens, I know, a lot of times in addiction, and I'm sure mental health is the same. Even the person coming through the door might not understand the extent of what's wrong. They might tell you, listen, I have 2 or 3 beers a day, I smoke a joint, that's my whole thing. And the truth is, they're doing a couple of 8-balls, they're doing this, they're doing that. I mean, they got this whole laundry list, but they are actually really lost in knowing the truth about their actions. They got to be lost in knowing the truth about their mental health disorder too. So when people walk through there, it's not like they can say, oh, here's a note from my doctor, I have schizophrenia, here's a note from my doctor, I'm bipolar. You guys are coming across this stuff on a daily basis. What do you do here at MP to screen people to figure out what is wrong with them? How do you identify them?
I wouldn't necessarily say like what's wrong with somebody. And a lot of clients, they're like, oh, I need to be fixed or anything. It's not about fixing. One of the things that I like to do is, the first thing that you have to do is build rapport with that client. But sometimes when a person is that lost, or they're not sure what's going on, sometimes I'll take out the DSM and be like, and I'll go through some of the symptoms, explain them, like, if you're experiencing some of this, these are characteristics of this disorder, of this substance use disorder, mental health, or whatever, to kind of help them understand like what they're feeling and what they're going through, and to kind of normalize it a little bit for that disorder.
That's an interesting approach, because to have them involved in helping to diagnose is kind of what you're talking about. These are, help them to identify these issues. These are things that I need help with, or whatever it might be. a lot of times it's just like, okay, I've looked at you, you're this. But they don't go through that and talk about the symptomology, do all of that. So I think that's really interesting. Is that indicative of all of your treatment here, that you involve the client that heavily in what's going on?
It depends on what the client needs. A lot of clients who come in, who do suffer from schizophrenia or anxiety, depression, they know quite a bit. But sometimes it is helpful to just take out that DSM and, just kind of cover the bases and
Excellent.
educate them.
Especially when they're in denial. Because of the stigma with mental health, oftentimes people will come in and go, I just suffer from anxiety. Then, they may have all the challenges where they become manic or, which is indicative of bipolar disorder. You mentioned that B word and people will run because they're fearful that they're going to get tagged and now their lives are going to be changed forever.
Right.
So sometimes educating them, helping them understand, it's not who you are. It's just a disorder. What if you had diabetes? Or what if you had heart problems? Well, different. It's just a disorder, that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Guess what? We can treat this too. And when we are able to normalize that for a client, they can accept what's going on in their lives. Now, maybe they have an opportunity to live a happy, healthy life. Because now they're no longer afraid of their diagnosis. They embrace it.
Yeah, it's just basically letting them know you are not your diagnosis. You are your own individual, but these are some of the things that you're probably struggling with.
But it is a piece of them. It's not who they are. But it is a piece of them. They have to come to accept. Yes. Is that a difficult process, coming to accept? Because I know sometimes accepting addiction as being an issue in your life is difficult. Is mental health kind of similar in that way?
Well, it can be challenging, specifically with people who have delusions. Those are tough. But I think
we're not talking about staff now. We're talking about the clients, right? Okay.
I don't know. But
I mean, do you have processes to go through? I mean,
sure.
It's their denial of their affliction or their disorders or whatever it might be. There are ways around that you guys can work on and help them.
One of the things that my staff does, and they do extremely well, in the many years that I've been doing this, I never had the honor to work with a staff that I have today. And the one thing that they do better than anyone I've seen before is they're able to step into the client's reality. They don't challenge it. They don't question it. They step into their reality. They gently walk them out. Where now the client can at least look at themselves and go, okay, well, maybe voices aren't real. Well, maybe it's okay to tell somebody what. And that's what makes the difference. Because once you're able to connect with the client at that level, from a mental health perspective, now you've won half the battle. Because now they not only have you earned their trust, you're no longer questioning or challenging them, so now they see you as an ally. Now you can help them understand their medication. You can help them understand why they need it. Why does your medication have to be changed? Why through the course of my life my medication will be changed 52 million times? Because as your body changes and adapts, becomes used to a certain medication, so now we have to adjust it, maybe try something different. But it doesn't mean that you're any worse off than you were before. It just means you're different. That's all. So when we're able to connect with the client and are able to educate them in that manner and help them, and now at that point, that client has the ability to move forward by himself. So now when we're not around, when he's moved on and he's doing well, and all of a sudden the doctor, he hears his voice is starting up again. Or he understands that he's maybe becoming a little more manic. All of a sudden he's getting these urges that he hasn't had in 1 or 2 years. Instead of trying to ignore them or, unfortunately, like some people do, go back to substances, he will go, maybe I need to call my doctor. Maybe I have to go see him sooner than later. Something's going on. Something is not right with me.
And I think that's one of the most rewarding things I've seen, when we're able to get to the clients to kind of reach a level of acceptance, so that when they are experiencing a manic episode or they're hearing voices or whatever, they feel comfortable in saying something, and verbalizing it, so that we can step in and help.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop the waves in the ocean, but with acceptance, you can get a surfboard, at least ride them a lot smoother than fighting them all the time. Right?
Exactly.
Your statement about your staff stepping in and kind of not necessarily stepping into their shoes, but meeting them where they're at, yes, and then bringing them slowly. That's not an education. That's a personality that needs to do that. That's a kind of it's a personality trait, I guess, that you can step in. You're not assuming we're here and they're here, which is unfortunately, even in clinical settings, they do that a lot. Let's intimidate with all of the degrees on the wall behind me, and let's do this and let's do that. And they try to keep themselves separated as possible. But what you're talking about kind of flies in the face of that. You're talking about really connecting with the client on a personal level.
Correct.
Is that difficult sometimes as a therapist? Because you do get you get closer to their pain yourself as an individual. Do that. That sometimes, you know what I'm talking about.
I mean,
you're
it's
not keeping that distance. You're allowing yourself to get in and really feel what they're feeling and join them, and that way you can empathize and bring them out. Is that difficult sometimes?
Be honest.
You mean like staying in the well as opposed to not being able to get out of the well?
I mean, like sometimes just getting in the well itself can be draining. And some people might say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to get, it's like when you lose clients, which unfortunately happens in this business, you start getting to a point where you say, I'm not going to emotionally invest anymore. And once you stop emotionally investing, you can't connect with them. So when you're emotionally investing by making that connection, I mean, that's a risk you guys take by doing that personally. Is it worth it to you?
Absolutely. I think that, a lot of therapists or all therapists should be trained or are trained on how to, empathize and be there with a client and be able to, after the session's over, be like, okay, well, this happened, whatever, and just carry on, onto the next task. Like we're there present, but after that, the end of the session, that's the end of the session. And after that, we just return to our normal selves. Sometimes it is a little bit more difficult than others, especially when maybe a client is talking about something that hits close to home, that maybe triggers you. But it's also, there's been sessions where, I've become a little teary-eyed because something triggered me, but it helped that client, to kind of disclose a little bit about myself, because that gave us more of a common ground, and it helps the therapeutic relationship. It helps, them understand that, like he was saying before, that we are allies, that we're here for you, that, to a certain extent, there are things that we understand. And even if we haven't been in your same situation, we're all human. I
think you made the point there that I was trying to get at, which was good, is that it does not bring you down as a professional. It actually makes you more important as a professional to be able to make that connection with the client, as opposed to sitting here saying, you're going through that, I'm not jumping in there. Just get yourself out. But you dig right in, and whether it's the tears and everything else, you got to make sure that your staff is right with themselves too. At the same time, make sure that they're okay. You guys got to take care of each other as much as you're taking care of your clients. Do you see that happening here? That you guys take care of each other?
Sometimes I think they take more care of me than I take care of them. They are phenomenal at taking care of each other. And that's the big part of it. They will call each other out when they're getting to. They all do. It's just the nature of the business. If you really want to make a difference, you have to be able to be vulnerable enough to know that, there's going to be those clients that are going to get to you. And you have to ask yourself, am I okay with that? Once you're able to do that, then you're in the right field. And you move on. One of the things that unfortunately I've come across is therapists that are too callous. They don't care. They're too clinical. And I was told a long time ago, you can take all your degrees, take all of that and throw it in the garbage can. If you can't connect with a client, go sell cars, because that's all you're going to be good for, period. Because you're not going to be able to help anyone. And that, I've always carried that. And coming here to MPAC, I see that attitude and that resilience, that love for another human being, every staff member. From my maintenance guy to my senior therapist. It's that attitude in every human being here. Nurses, doctors, everyone. That's what makes this place so different. That's what makes this place the place where, God forbid, something happened in my family. This is where I want them to be at.
I mean, even I remember one client in particular, even the cleaning crew had a relationship with this client, and because this client, you know, they wouldn't talk, they wouldn't interact very much, but this cleaning person, you know, was able to make a connection, you know, so it's wonderful to see how invested everybody is.
And I know here at NPAC, we take the shortcut, which means I say the whole name. Thank you. Neuro Psychiatric Addiction Clinic. I got it. NPAC. You guys really do understand that all work is easy, whether it's somebody cleaning or I met your chef today. What a great guy he is.
Brian.
Yes. What a great guy. You know, I wanted to go in and play in his kitchen. He wouldn't let me. You know, one look and he thought no sharp things for him. But
says that about all of us.
Yeah. But all of them, and I know that one of the things they've done here at MPAC is they're allowing everybody to get trained in certain things for addiction because they understand that everybody's got contact and everybody's important. And the therapy session you might do today, they may be processing that with a tech later on in the evening when it just comes. And if these people, you need good people around you to be able to do that.
Yes.
You know, and then you need the communication afterward. Everybody's on the same page, so that if somebody's having an issue, doesn't matter who they're in front of, somebody's there to help them. I think that's what makes it special here. If I'm wrong, tell me. But it's about the people that you have. You know, you got a great facility. It's a great place. Port St. Lucie. It's in Florida. It's beautiful. Take a look at the pictures, but it's about the people. So I want them to call and talk to you.
Yes.
And if somebody wanted to know something, you had to pull from your heart and tell somebody something about this place, what would it be? Something in your heart that you carry that you think makes this special.
I mean, I think it's just the level of care that we have for each other and everybody that walks those doors, whether you work here or you're a client. It's an answer that's never going to change. We really care, and I'm really proud of everybody that works here because this is like one of the few, maybe the only place that I've worked at that the team is so strong. Everybody communicates, everybody plays a role, everybody, you know, works together. It's amazing to see.
How about you?
Kind of hard to top what she just said. Because for me,
that's why I let her go first. You know,
for me, outside looking in as clinical director, there isn't a day that doesn't come in that they don't leave me breathless because of their loyalty, not to the facility. They're willing to sacrifice everything for that person, and when I see that every day, day in, day out, from every one of these people. Why wouldn't you want to come to work? Why wouldn't you want to come here, period?
Even game days, we sacrifice to come in.
Even what?
Even game days.
What are game days?
We will be here.
Well, she's a Gator fan. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard for that to come out.
Gator fan.
Oh,
and yes. You are what?
Yeah, I'm a UM fan, but you know, I said, hey,
I'm a Syracuse guy, so
some people,
I can handle losing a lot easier than you guys.
Well, you know, some people are, you know, Temple fans and sort of migrated.
Oh, Temple.
And jump ship, but that's
my Philly area. There you go.
Yeah, Temple Owls.
Owls strikes fear in you when you hear that, right? Owls.
Yeah.
It does.
Couldn't have come up with a better bird than an owl. Anyway,
owls are pretty cool.
Yeah, owls are cool. Guys, it's such a pleasure talking to you. And it's nice that we can laugh a little bit and get some of this information. We can't possibly on this show cover everything that I'd love to talk about. We could spend all day talking about addiction, all day talking about the staff and NP. But the most important thing I want you to take away is that these people are available for a simple phone call. Shoot them an email. Ask questions. And if you don't like the answer, fine. But if you don't ask, you get no answer. So ask, right?
Please.
Yes.
Please do.
Yes, please.
Well, you may not like the answer that you get, but know that you're going to get an answer, and it's going to be truthful and forthcoming, always.
There we go. So check it out right here at Neuro Psychiatric Addiction Clinic, or you can go to npaddictionclinic.com and get all the information you need about this place. In the meantime, guys, Erica, Aurelio, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. We'll do another show soon, I hope, and certainly talk about, we got holidays coming up and everything else. People are going to be under a lot of stress. Maybe we can give them some tips on dealing
Stress
with holiday
management.
stress without relapse. How's that?
Yes.
But for now, I'm Scott Jones, your host. You've been watching Insights into Addiction and Mental Health.